estate. Exams don't mean a thing. And even after 3 years of idleness, I should be able to scrape through this. Louis, good luck.
I shall need it. Well, good luck to you, too.
George, this is kind of you.
Kind, be damned. It's my coaching been on trial, hasn't it? Every bit as much as your brains. Well, how did we do?
Not badly. Well, we did well enough.
Let's see then. Well, we saw that one coming, didn't we? And an old chestnut about men's rare. Comes up every time. Why didn't you do number 7 in your common law paper?
I thought I could do more of number 10 in the time.
Doubt if it'll carry as many marks. You were a jackass to fall into that trap on equity. Still, by and large, you don't seem to have made a complete fool of yourself. Lord, I've got to get back to the office. And I'll tell you what you can do. Forget all this rubbish. Get a good night's sleep, then come out to the farm this weekend, sink a pint or two, and we'll set the world to rights with the group.
Sheila's promised to take me to the Eden's punch party.
Sheila Knight.
Well, shan't you be there?
I haven't been asked. I'm only Eden's managing clerk, aren't I?
I'm sorry, but she asked me a long while back.
Damned countified bitch.
I know you don't like her, but there's no need to call...
I don't like to see you forgetting your friends and throwing yourself away on some social parasite.
Can't help it, I love her.
She's as fickle as Mercury and as cold as Charity to boot.
Leave off.
Gladly. If you like this at the bottom of the social ladder, God forbid you should climb any higher.
Telephone, Mr. Elliot.
Thank you. Hello?
Hello?
Sheila.
Is that you?
It's me, all right.
Of course it's you. Who else could it be?
This is getting a bit Alice in Wonderland, isn't it?
Right. Business. About tonight.
Don't say you're going to stand me up.
I'll meet you there.
You're supposed to be taking me.
I can't manage it. You just have to make yourself at home. You won't mind. You can make yourself at home anywhere.
But you will come.
I'll come.
See you there, then.
Is it ready?
I think a little more lemon.
I'd have thought more rum.
Louis Elliot.
Very glad to see you, Elliot. Come on through. This is the young man I was telling you about, dear.
Sheila Knight's friend.
She said to meet her here.
And she hasn't arrived. She had such style.
Well, I've known Lewis on my own account for some time. Yes, I advised him to be a solicitor, didn't I?
You were very encouraging.
Excellent advice, which he was far too enterprising to take. Well, sit down. Make yourself at home. Still, nothing like being a young man in a hurry. And now Passon tells me that you've just been sitting your bar finals.
What's it got to do with your managing clerk?
He's been coaching me.
Oh.
Very fortunate you are. First-rate lawyer.
Not good enough for you to promote him.
Evidently under his spell, like a great many young people in the town, I understand.
He's a very remarkable man.
Yes, perhaps too remarkable to be a partner in a firm of solicitors in a provincial town.
I don't agree.
No. But then you don't have my responsibility to our clients, do you?
Punch is ready.
I do like the sound of that.
Oh, shall we wait for Sheila?
Well, I don't see why we should. Last come, last served. What do you say, Elliot?
Well, I'm sure she won't mind if we start without her.
Right.
Form an
Come on,
orderly queue,
everybody.
please.
Rat.
Trap.
Pony.
Tail.
Lambs.
Shakespeare.
Sheila.
What? Sheila! Sheila, my dear.
I'm being extremely rude, but I hope you don't mind my bringing another guest.
How original.
This is Dr. Devitt. He works at the infirmary. We've been having dinner and
Hello,
I thought you
Doctor.
wouldn't begrudge me some punch.
Oh, all it needs is another glass. Go on in, Dr. Devitt. I'll get you one.
Thank you.
Lewis looks as if he could do with another one.
Sheila tells me you've been working fit to beat the band. You look as though you might have been overdoing it.
You've got a crack in one of your spectacles.
Oh, yes. Yes, it's too near to affect vision, but I should get another pair.
What a boring conversation. There.
Thank you.
What were you playing when we arrived?
Word associations.
Ooh, wonderful. Who was winning?
I just got started, Sheila.
Well, Bag's Eye begin again.
Right.
Spectacles.
Vision.
I'm not much good at this, are you?
Miracle.
Same
No,
again.
no, I accept that. Look.
You don't know how lucky you are. There's never been a better time to be alive. You've got the wits, God knows. All you need is the will, and you can create a world in which men and women can live in peace, in decent comfort, and cease to be power-craving, avaricious, censorious, and cruel.
Hello.
Look who's here.
Olive, Jack,
What brings you slumming?
it's over between me and Sheila.
We all have our lovers' quarrels. It's sweet when you make up.
Oh, no, not for Lewis. He gets all of the anguish and none of the fun, don't you?
Seems so.
Never mind. Welcome to Liberty Hall.
Move up.
You've just proved my point. You can be what you want. All of you can. You've only got to throw off the shackles of past restraints, and you can make your own and your children's lives the best this world has ever seen. It's important that Eden should take me into partnership. But I don't know. Things have never fallen into my lap.
It's time they began.
It's not that I'm not ambitious. I am, you know, to some extent. Not as ambitious as you. But in my case, matters have never shaped themselves so as to give ambition a chance. But it's important now, from every point of view, that I get promoted. Just think how many members of the group I could help get started if I had a partner salary.
You'd be worse off than you are already, giving it all away.
There's a possibility, I don't know, that I may want to do something more useful in a wider field. Well, the group's all very well, but its success is inside oneself. As one gets older, perhaps one is no longer pure enough to be satisfied with that. Besides, people go away. It's inevitable. But, inevitably, those who go farthest are those one values most.
I'll keep in touch.
You'll try. The fact is, you're beyond me already.
About Saturday night.
Yes?
I did it on purpose.
Why?
Because you made me angry. I've not come to say I'm sorry. I'm glad I did it. You can hit me. You should. You look rather sweet with lipstick on.
Still don't understand why you did it.
I'm hateful. I thought you were too possessive.
Possessive?
Now, get me out of this.
Do you love him?
Tom Devitt? Wish I did. He's a good man. He's too good for me. He's a better man than you are.
He loves you.
He wants to marry me. I can't. I don't love him. Sometimes I think I shall never love anyone. And I'm looking for someone to love. I don't love you, but I trust you to get me out of this.
Other women invaded me with love, but somehow with you I've no pride, no reserve left. I don't understand you. Perhaps I never shall. You're worlds away from anything I can encompass with my mind, but nothing else matters. No one else means anything. You are the beat of my heart. You are my life and my love.
I don't love you. But I trust you. I can't come tomorrow afternoon, as I have a shocking cold. I always get shocking colds. Come and see me if you'd like to, and can face it. My mother will be out visiting the sick. If I were a parishioner, she'd be visiting me, which would be the last straw. You laugh at your peril.
Nothing further from my thoughts.
Nor my father's. He's terrified of catching anything. Afraid of losing that voice, I suppose. Absolutely refuses to come near me. He even takes his meals in his study.
So his sermons don't get any longer.
God forbid. You go ahead. This is all I'm having.
Did I see Tom Devitt leaving?
Very probably.
How is he?
I don't know. I wouldn't see him. What's the point? You couldn't turn me into a doctor's wife.
Poor man.
The more helpless they are, the worse one treats them. I've never found anyone who made me helpless yet. I can't imagine what it'd be like. Could you?
I found you.
You're not helpless. I shouldn't trust you if you were. If you want, you could kiss me now. Come to the charity ball. I hate balls, but I'll go to this one if you'll come with me. My mother's trying to persuade me and my father to go. It would annoy her considerably if you were to make up our party. She thinks you're a fortune hunter.
I can't come.
Not because of that. You never mind what people think.
No, it's not that.
Then why can't you come?
Don't have the clothes.
Oh. Well, for you, you're all meant to be worried about that. Always forget how young you are. Now, before you accuse me of condescending, I want us to go to this ball. Let me give you a present.
Can't buy me a dinner jacket.
No pride, no reserve.
A man's fancy clothes being bought from, that was different.
If we hadn't quarrelled, would you let me give you a dinner jacket?
Certainly not.
Then, darling, let me do it because of what has happened between us.
You're not looking well.
For heaven's sake, Mother, you've been working.
You're not keeping fit.
No doubt our young friend is worried about the results of his examinations.
A bit.
That's only the start. Long haul at the bar. Doesn't crack up now, you know.
I don't intend to.
If I may?
Oh, very well.
dear lady, allow me the pleasure.
My dear Bishop, the pleasure is mine.
You notice his lordship did not choose to acknowledge me.
Apparently not.
He ought to have remembered me. He ought to have done. I'm not certain of your standards, Elliot, but would you say that the girl in red was attractive?
Very.
She lives in my parish, although she doesn't attend. I'm afraid she's broken a good many hearts. She ought to get married. She ought to get married. It's bad for anyone to break too many hearts. It shows there's something, shall we say, torn about their own.
What do you believe in? No, I get enough bromides from my parents. What do you believe in?
Well, I believe in people, I suppose.
Yes. I believe in joy. I'm going to Scotland.
Where?
I'm going shooting. What's so funny about that?
Well, it's funny.
I suppose you mean I only know these people because my father married for money? I suppose it's your idea of a joke that my mother was such a fool? I suppose that's what you mean.
I don't mean any such thing.
It doesn't matter. I'll let you know when I get back.
I bet you haven't even made love to her. Lewis, it's the cold ones who can do you harm. I expect you wonder whether any woman will ever want you.
Do a bit.
Damn the bitch. You'd realize how absurd that was if you met somebody warm. You're sympathetic. You're clever, you're going to be a success, you've a gleam in your eye. It's like everything else. You've got to believe in yourself. If she's ruined that for you, I'll never forgive her. What in God's name made you choose her?
Didn't have any choice.
Why ever not?
Well, from the first time I saw her, I felt a kind of pity. In the midst of love.
She's cruel, Lewis. You've admitted as much.
She's all cruelty. And all suffering. Don't you see?
Now I am afraid for you.
Telegram, Mr. Elliot. But from Lady Muck, I shouldn't wonder.
Congratulations and homage. You have won a student prize. I've scraped through myself. See you soon, Charles.
Woohoo! Why,
Hey!
Mr. Elliot!
Why didn't you tell me you were back?
You must be very excited, aren't you? Then so am I!
Excuse me, please tell me the way to French Walk.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Percy.
The young gentleman's in your room, sir.
Ah, don't tell me. You're Ellis.
I'm Elliot.
You're Elliot. You're Elliot. Herbert Getliff, commonly known as H.G.
How'd you do?
So, you want to come into these chambers, do you?
Yes, I do.
Yes, well, I needn't tell you. I have to refuse more pupils than I can take. One of the penalties of being on the way up. No, it is not easy for me to take you. But I shall. I make it a matter of principle to take people like you, who've started with nothing but their brains. Also, it helps keep the others up to the mark. So, I shall take you.
I'm very grateful.
As for the root of all evil, do sit down. I'm going to charge you the ordinary pupil's fee. You see, Ellis, one is obliged to think of the others, so 100 guineas for the year. You can pay in quarters. I should if I were you. Then, you see, we can reconsider the arrangement in the third, fourth quarters. Who knows? You may have saved me a bit of work by then. You may have earned a bit of bread and butter. And the labourer is worthy of his hire. Oh, yes. Oh, the labourer is worthy of his hire.
I'm Percy Hall, sir. I call you sir, you call me Percy. Take the chair. Now, as clerk to these chambers, there are certain things I can do for you. But I'm not going to until I see how you shape. I've a reputation to lose. The sooner we understand each other, the better. Now, sir, what strings can you pull? Some of our young gentlemen have uncles or connections who are solicitors. It turns out very useful sometimes. It's wonderful how the jobs come in.
I've got no useful friends. And apart from my studentship, well, you know I've got one.
I see Mr. Getliff's correspondence.
Well, apart from that, I'm living on borrowed money. If I can't keep within 3 years, I'm finished so far as this game goes.
That's a pity, sir.
Lewis!
Charles!
How are the crowd in your chambers?
Fine. To tell you the truth, I don't seem to be very impressed with my connections.
My dear chap, you're welcome to most of mine. Come on, let's go and drown our sorrows. I wonder if you can dine at my father's house next week. It might interest you to see the inside of a Jewish family.
Mr. Lewis Elliot.
Lewis! How good of you to come.
Charles.
This is good of you. Come and meet my sister, Catherine.
How'd you do?
I can't tell you how pleased I am to do so. Charles is maddeningly secretive about his friends. Isn't that so? Don't you agree?
Only because you're so incorrigibly inquisitive. Lewis, this is Anne Simon.
Hello.
Hello.
Anne's a journalist. That's right, isn't it?
Fairly embryonic one.
All the same, I have the greatest difficulty in stringing two words together on paper. And this is Francis Getliff.
How'd you do? How'd you do?
Another of Charles's friends, whom I wasn't allowed to meet until he'd passed into Cambridge legend as the youngest research fellow ever to have been appointed by their college.
Since when? You've made up for lost time, shouldn't you say? Whiskey and soda?
Please. I believe I'm in your brother's chambers.
So I understand.
You poor man.
You might have done better at the Chancery Bar.
Well, I didn't have the connections.
Whose chambers are you in, Charles?
Albert Hart's.
Oh, the Jewish circuit.
Oh, that's unkind.
True, but unkind.
Thank you.
I've never seen eye to eye with H.G., but he seems to have a way with a jury.
You're not a lawyer yourself?
No, I'm a physicist.
Stinks and bangs.
Cosmic stinks and bangs with a bit of luck.
You don't know Lewis Elliot. Lewis, this is my father.
How'd you do, sir?
You mustn't mind my appearance. I'm too old to change my ways. But when my children refuse to bring their friends here if they have to make themselves uncomfortable, then I'm compelled to stretch a point. I'd rather have you not looking like a penguin than not at all.
My being ill in Venice had nothing to do with what I ate.
I refuse to accept your assurances. My experience is that foreigners can always tempt one to abandon any sensible habit. Of course, you're too young to remember the catastrophe which foreigners involved us in a mere 13 years ago. You can't remember how they bamboozled us and entangled us in continental concerns that were no affair of ours.
I'm sorry, Mr. March, but I can't believe it was that simple.
I'm talking about the Great War.
So am I.
I suppose you're going to tell us that we can't understand anything except in the context of the so-called class struggle.
Yes, I am.
Economic poppycock.
It's a tenable theory. We're only going to throw off the shackles of the past and we'll make our own and our children's lives the best this world has ever seen.
Balderdash!
Don't shout, Mr. L.
You can't convince us by clamour.
And you can't convince me by claptrap. You think the world will improve, I take it?
Yes.
I'm inclined to think that it will continue to get worse. I console myself that it will last my time.
I'm sure it won't last mine. I'm also sure it oughtn't to.
You anticipate some violent change within your lifetime?
Of course. I'm sure of it.
You've no right to be sure.
Why not?
Because women would be better advised not to concern themselves with such things.
How do you feel about accepting Mr. L's transport?
You can afford it better than I can afford a taxi. You're evidently not a communist.
No.
Too cynical.
I'm too conscious of the nature of power and what it does to those who wield it.
Too pessimistic.
Not in the long run. The people with power tend to get detached from anything else. And you are in the party, I take it?
Yes. But you don't have to broadcast it.
Didn't do a bad job yourself tonight.
I suppose not.
Why?
I think Charles is going to be important to me. I couldn't let his family take me in under false pretenses.
It's outrageous. Getlip hadn't ordered a single word of my draft. He did give grudging acknowledgement that he couldn't even get my name right. Just about enough of it.
I don't blame you. I'm thinking of giving up the bar myself.
You just won your first case.
You don't have many ties, do you?
I've got those I make myself.
They're not so intolerable. You're lucky.
Yes. But I've been more alone than you've ever been.
You've also had incomparably greater privacy. Most of the things you've done have affected nobody but yourself. Don't you agree? And I'm a much more diffident person than you, as well as being more spiritually arrogant. I tell you, Louis, you are lucky. I had to prove I could play the game my father's way. Now I must establish my own identity.
It's a rich man's fancy.
I wouldn't have thought you had a social chip on your shoulder.
It's not that exactly.
What then?
Oh, I don't know. I'm still not free of all the hopes that other people pinned on me. Perhaps I never shall be.
No.
Come on.
I'm going to let you pay your last quarter's fees, Ellis.
Elliot.
Now, I know what you're going to say. I know you've done things for me. I know that better than you. But you see, I'm thinking of my future pupils. If I start letting them off their fees whenever they take advantage of their opportunities, well, I know myself too well. I shall stop putting things their way. So I'm going to accept your cheque. But of course, next year we'll have a business arrangement. This merely wipes the slate clean, Elliot.
What brings you to London?
Shopping. What do you do with yourself all day?
Draft opinions, mostly. HG either adopts or accepts without payment or acknowledgement.
That won't get you very far, will it?
Sheila, marry me. I'll find a way to keep us both.
Yes, I believe you would.
Well, then...
Louis, if I marry, I shall hope to be in love. I'm not in love with you, I've told you that. I'm not in love with you. Sometimes I ask myself, why not? What's wrong with me? What's missing in me?
You tell me what you feel.
Well, if you must hear it, I think I shall never love you. You must well hear the rest. I've been hoping that I should, for a long time now. I'd rather love you than any of the others. Can't think why. You're not as nice as people think.
I can't. I can't! Am I absolutely frigid? Shall I always be?
You shouldn't think so, no. Better get you a safety pin.
You've got strong hands. Thank you. Take me for a walk.
I'm sorry.
I shouldn't have
No.
done anything.
My fault. I'm afraid of it. You know that. And obsessed by it. It's been my secret daydream and my secret dread. For years. I'm more ignorant than most girls. My mother saw to that. As for my father, other people seem to be more matter-of-fact about it. For me, in my solitary thoughts, then I get into these situations and help me. Tell me I'm not incapable of answering a man's love.
Well, perhaps if I were older, or if I didn't love you, I might,
Yes?
I don't know, be both coarser and more tender.
Is it possible to come to terms and make friends of the flesh?
I don't know. I only know that I love you to madness. That I'm hungry with longing for you. Utterly defeated by you.
Too cold to jump.
His Lordship's compliments, sir. He wishes to say that this is not Napoleon brandy, but it is reasonably old.
Thank you. I'm impressed. Oh, I know our host does have some human qualities. But the stock exchange, banking, amateur politics, when you've made enough money to indulge in them. Can you imagine taking them up if you had a free choice? No. And if you had a free choice, can you imagine taking up this profession you're so anxious to succeed in?
Perhaps not if I'm given a completely free choice.
Of course you can't. You don't want money, Lewis. You'll realize that when you make some. And you don't want the sort of meaningless status that appeals to Herbert Getliff. You'll realize that when you get it.
Granted you want to satisfy yourself, it's not a job a reasonable man would choose, don't you agree?
And what's the alternative?
To spend one's life doing something useful.
I mean, good?
Well, who's to judge? Oneself. Who else? Come and meet Enriquez. After all, I did drag you here in an attempt to further your career.
Morning, Percy.
Good morning, sir. There's a brief coming, marked personal for you. You never told me you knew Mr. Henriquez, eh?
Well, I didn't until the other night.
I see. Mind you, it's nothing much. Bit of a rush job, too. The first choice had to return the brief. Still, great oaks.
Quite.
Oh, and there's a Miss Simon waiting for you, sir.
Hello.
You're looking indecently chipper.
And why not? Entirely thanks to an introduction from Charles, I've just landed my first brief. I must telephone to thank him.
In that case, you'll have to telephone him in Cambridge. He's gone to ground with Francis Getcliffe, having told Mr. L that he intends to become a doctor.
An ordinary GP?
Exactly so.
That must have gone down well.
There was, I gather, a row, the like of which the family hasn't seen since Uncle Albert took it into his head to become a Christian missionary in 1884. Mr. L blames me, of course.
Now, why on earth?
My father was an ordinary GP. So far as Mr. L is concerned, the fact I couldn't stand him is entirely beside the point. And, of course, Catherine's livid because it means she daren't announce that she wants to marry Francis Getcliffe.
You've lost me.
When the family's in uproar over Charles's decision to become a tuppenny-halfpenny medical practitioner, how can Catherine say that she means to marry a Gentile? Mr. Ella go through the roof?
I think I'd better go back to Leicester for a bit.
No, you won't. Mr. L's sent for me. You'll prove your friendship for Charles by coming to see Fair Play.
Louis?
Thank you, sir.
Why is my son contemplating a completely unsuitable career?
Why don't you ask him?
I don't consider that he's responsible for his actions.
I can't think that you know him.
Many men would do any nonsense that you might put to them.
Charles would never do what I told him.
And what is your attitude towards him?
I love him.
If that is true, I find it even more astonishing that you think that my son should be satisfied as a mediocre medical practitioner.
He'll be happier in himself.
I was given no warning to expect you back.
I only decided a couple of hours ago.
I've taken this opportunity to give Miss Simon my views on your present intentions. I've also asked her for an explanation as to why you have conceived such a ridiculous project.
You must leave her out of it.
Oh, I shall leave her out of this matter when I've any reason to believe that she is not its source and origin.
I've told Mr. March that I'm very glad about your decision, Charles, but that I had and could have had nothing to do with your making it.
I have not alluded to the opinion of the family.
You know they could not even begin to count.
They will hold a place in my regard as long as I live. I am aware that you entertain no feelings for them. You left me no illusions on that point when you made known your intention not to continue at the bar.
May I say something, Mr. March?
I am always glad to hear your observations.
Charles may have felt that he had to defy his family, but he was always infinitely concerned about the effect that might have on you.
You didn't pretend that your actions had no effect on my happiness?
Never.
Well, that was civil of you. But I'm bound to inform you that if you carry out your present intention, it will have a considerable effect on my happiness.
I wish it weren't so. But I can't change my mind.
You realize what this means to me?
I'm afraid I do.
Ah. Very well. Very well. I wonder if you would excuse us. My car is at your disposal. Louis, would you be kind enough to ensure that Miss Simon gets home? You know that on your 25th birthday, I've always intended to settle sufficient capital on you to make you independent for the rest of your life.
Yes, you've always given me to understand that you would.
I no longer feel able to do so. I shall continue your allowance, and that's all.
Well, I can understand that you want me to live the life you've imagined for me. But I tell you, I don't find this easy to accept.
Do you think I do?
But I might want to get married soon.
I can't let that influence my judgment. I'm not going to make you independent while you insist in going in for misguided fooleries.
He thinks I'm being totally irresponsible.
You must know you're not an irresponsible person.
Well, that makes it worse. He couldn't imagine, and I didn't have the heart to tell him, that I'm not just quitting the bar. That's only part of an environment I find it impossible to accept for myself. See, I can't say it simply, even to you. Ever since I was a child, I've ached to be who I was. To be liked for the person I thought myself to be. It would be intolerable to be just another bright young Jew. I might as well go straight back to the ghetto. Do you think he wants to stop me marrying? Do you think he wants to stop me marrying Anne?
He wouldn't have chosen her for you. What shall he do?
What do you think? Do you think I could stop now? Where's this famous brief of yours?
Oh. Here.
What line are you taking?
Well, I rather thought
Have you
that-
got anything written down?
Yes. Here.
Well, I know you're cleverer than this attempt suggests, but nobody else will. You'll win it, all right, unless you show more than usual incompetence when you get on your feet. But, Louis, you're missing an opportunity to make a bit of an impression. Now, look here.
Well, I was impressed.
I was all right once I started to speak.
Louis, what on earth persuaded you to draw that absurd red herring?
Well, I thought I recovered rather well.
Hang it all, you won the case.
Yes, I'm really glad he did. But it could have been a very serious mistake. Don't you agree? You completely missed the point.
Very nice. My best thanks, Elliot. If I may say so, you had it in hand all the way. I apologize again for giving you such short notice. Next time, we shan't hurry you so much.
Champagne?
Stop. Oh, drink up and have another one. What are you looking so down in the mouth for? You're on your way.
I suppose HG will see it like that.
We won't if you don't tell him.
Oh, I don't know.
You tell him. You're evasive and tricky, but you're not a moral coward.
The concept of life as a moral gymnasium can be overdone.
Look, I'm getting a few briefs now. Now, Charles March has done more than his share. So has Enriquez. Well, I think you should do yours now. You promised you'd put some of your work my way. I think that this would be a good time.
Yes, I'm very glad you've spoken like this, Ellis. I believe you've spoken like a friend. People sometimes tell me I'm selfish. I get worried. You see, I'm not conscious of it. I'd hate to think of myself like that. No, I want my friends to pull me up if ever they think I'm going wrong. I'll tell you what. Old HJ is coming in soon. Now, that means work for HG. Well, LS, I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to tell HJ there's a man in these chambers who can do that job as well as I should. I mean you.
Well, I'm damned.
I can't tell you how glad I shall be to do something for you. You deserve it, Ellis. What? No, you deserve it.
Bit dizzy.
Head between your knees, sir. Down. Right down. All right, sir.
That's fine. Bright as rain.
What do you suppose it was, sir?
Shock, I should think. At HG actually having done something for me after all this time. Look here, Percy, I've been having such a filthy summer that I think I'm going to treat myself to a bit of sun. I'm off to the south of France. Might even miss the first few days of next term. Keep the place warm, will you?
Well, don't be away too long, sir. It's easy to get yourself forgotten.
How badly are you ill?
Don't know. Doctors don't seem to know either.
It might be serious.
Yes, might be a rare form of anemia.
You don't look so bad.
That's as well.
Why?
People don't give chances to sick barristers.
It's not funny.
No.
You're frightened, aren't you?
Yes.
I think you're more frightened than I should be. Yet you can put on an act and fool all your lawyer friends. At times you make me feel like a child. Louis, what do you want?
See a better world.
For yourself.
I want success.
Is there anything else you want?
You know that I want love. Ordinary human love.
I don't think you'll die in obscurity. Well, why didn't you love someone else? Well, no decent woman would let you go like this. I wish I were a different woman.
Got a train to catch.